Yeah, absolutely.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the first edition of CIO Perspective, CIONOW's LinkedIn Live series featuring conversations with technology leaders shaping India's digital future. Each episode goes beyond the technology headlines to explore the leadership choices, practical challenges, and strategic thinking behind enterprise transformation. We are delighted to begin this series with Mr. Dilraj Singh Gandhi, EVP AI and Digital at TAFE. Today's discussion on how AI and digital capabilities are reshaping business models will explore how organizations can move from digital transformation to intelligent AI enabled operations, covering AI value creation, data foundations, accessibility, legacy modernization, and the leadership priorities that will shape the enterprise of the future. Welcome, Dilraj.
Thank you, Yashvendra. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be a part of this, first
Wonderful.
episode and a journey. All the very best to you for upcoming features also.
Thanks a ton, Dilraj. To set the ball rolling, Dilraj, TAFE is a part of the Amalgamations Group and ranks among the largest tractor manufacturers in the world. As EVP AI and digital, what's your mandate at TAFE? And what are the organization's key digital priorities today?
Thank you. Thank you for this question. Yashvendra, my mandate spans across three pillars, or I'll say they are spread over three pillars. One is a digital transformation. The second is on the culture side, and the third is on the AI side. If I keep inside this, see, traditionally we have been a tractor manufacturing company, and tractor industry has been traditionally, tech savvy, but not digital savvy. So since last 6 7 years, the company had taken up a journey on digital, where I am supposed to lead and drive digital transformation across TAFE's multi-brand, multi-product, ecosystem. But the story doesn't end here in leading and driving. The focus is more on delivering the business results, more like an owner, may not be a P&L owner, but at least to deliver the results and showcase the benefit of digital transformation, not the incremental benefits, but a transformation in nature by itself. That's number one. Number two is more about culture. As I said, traditionally we had been more on traditional IT. Digital needs a very different mindset. It needs to be embedded in the way of operations and the culture. So probably my role is to also be an evangelist, bring out new stories, new cases for the company, embed that culture into the organization. So that becomes a digital first mindset. And very recently, since last 1 year, I've been extended a mandate to take AI lead and into our very important customer side. So how do we really deliver new experience to the customer and the dealers, leveraging AI as one of the enablers, and not only the enablers but also the core digital assistant.
Sure, sure, got it.
In terms of the priorities, as you rightly asked, there are three or four key priorities. One, on the side of customer, how do we really create uh, customer experience which can be unmatched? The second priority is on the dealer side, that how do we make your dealer more viable, sustainable, and profitable? Without dealer being profitable, the customer experience can never be expected. The third piece, which is very important in this, especially in the VUCA stage, of course, VUCA has been there since last multi decades. Now it's becoming more brittle. So in this stage, it's important to have very agile, very lean supply chain. So how do you really make that supply chain completely tech driven with least human intervention, more data driven decisions? And the last but very important is the quality. How do you make your product leveraging digital and digital ecosystem to make it zero defect from the day one, or maybe even at the tier one suppliers before they supply it's a zero defect? These are the top priorities, I'll put it up. for TAFE as a mandate.
Sure, sure. Thanks for those wonderful inputs, Dilraj. Moving on, TAFE has undergone an extensive technology and talent transformation to cater to an increasingly digital and aspirational rural consumer base. However, as the manufacturing sector pivots from basic automation towards Industry 4.0, it's no longer just about digitizing processes, but making the entire organization deeply cognitive. Dilraj, how can an organization move beyond foundational digital transformation to build a fully intelligent AI enabled enterprise? What's your thoughts here?
So, very right question, and in fact, very pertinent from current context. Especially, I'm seeing that a lot of organizations do the POC and do some fundamental digital, but then the spark is diminished. I think it's very important to work on three fundamental things together. It cannot be separated. One is on the people side. Uh, People mindset from digital perspective has to be upskilled. Not only the mindset, but also their capabilities need to be upskilled. So some investment, some time, some resources have to be put into people side to make sure that the people are there. The second is to start bringing out the benefits on the table, however small it may be, however smaller when it is, but it should be reflected on the table to everyone that whatever digital initiative was taken up, this is a real benefit coming out. And if it's not coming out, I think there is a need to relook that why is it not coming out. Otherwise, it will have its own natural death. People will lose the faith on it. And the third is a continuity. I think it's very important to have a pipeline of use cases. You One cannot wait, okay, let me have one use case and I will see the results, then come to the next use case. The momentum is lost. The whole story of digital is all about inertia, momentum, and change management. Right? There are multiple now business models where investments can be scattered or can be put into a deferred plan, etc. But the point here is that do we lose the momentum? And the last important thing is the use case by itself. Mostly, I'll tell you, Yashvendra, in many of the organizations, the use cases are created by the board level or at the top level, which are for their convenience, but they actually don't solve the problem on the ground. So, if you really want to make this beyond fundamental, you will have to be very particular that is the use case really solving the problem on the ground or is it for the convenience of few individuals? And that requires to deeply understand that is it a problem which we're trying to solve or is it a perceived problem or is it a symptom we are trying to solve, because ultimately the digital gets success in terms of adoption, in terms of ROI, when it is adopted and it is used when no camera is looking into that.
Yeah, right.
And that's only possible when the actual problem of the ground is solved, not the perceived problem, not the symptom, not the convenience. That's where the whole piece comes up. If we work on these four, elements, I think there is no doubt that the organizations will have digital beyond fundamental. What we talk about, whether it's in the manufacturing industry 4.0 or any other stream, you can pick it up.
Sure, sure. No, absolutely, Dilraj. You've touched upon some really important, pertinent challenges confronting CIOs today. You talked about change management, which is like one of the biggest challenges that CIOs confront when it comes to artificial intelligence. Finding use cases, business use cases is another one. So, great challenges touched upon by you, Dilraj. Um, Moving on, when we look at agriculture mechanization today, a farmer's relationship with an OEM no longer just finishes after the initial purchase. It has evolved into a continuous data-driven relationship spanning the entire equipment cycle, life cycle. Across the core stages of the customer journey, which are specifically product discovery, real time, equipment usage, maintenance, and after sales support. Where do you see AI creating the absolute greatest value for the farmer?
Across value chain. You'll be surprised, Yashvendra, the adoption of uh, digital knowledge or information in rural has penetrated so deep that today, if some farmer, if he or she are willing to buy any equipment, independent of whether it's a tractor or a implement or anything else, they do thorough research. And to my understanding, even before they enter the showroom, they have already decided 70%.
Okay.
That much of knowledge they take from various medias available, whether it's a YouTube or Google, or for that matter social media, Instagram, many, and those are faceless influencers or whosoever is influencing. So there has been a complete change in the buying style
Okay.
and the buying expectations also. So here AI has a huge role to play, because while AI brings a lot of information, it can actually help farmer to take decision at every stage. Look, from the pre-purchase or discovery to the purchase, the farmer has to take many decisions in the tractor buying, right? And many of the decisions are based on their generational experience or hearsay, right? Uh, but AI can really help them to take certain decisions. I'll give you an example. If somebody wants to buy a tractor, now
Right.
he might have seen that his nearby neighbor has one particular brand or one particular HP, and he's doing more or less the same job. So let me also do the research and figure out which are the companies which are making the same range. The, here AI can help a lot to make him understand. Look, whether you really need this HP tractor or you need a higher HP tractor. What is going to be the application? What is the nature of the soil? What is the soil nature? What is the type of crop you're doing, going for? What is your implementation you're going to? So all these combinations put together can help the farmer to decide on which implement or which tractor to go. And then comes AI in terms of funding. AI can help a lot along with the bank's institution to figure it out, which will be the best way to get the money, what could be the right rates depending on the credit worthiness. The whole cycle of buying through loan could be reduced drastically with the help of all the assessments being done by AI, because of the computing power and the parameters being collected at various stages beyond the natural. So currently credit are checked with the CIBIL qualification or Equifax qualification, but there are thousands of other places where the parameters are being collected. If they are club, then for the customers who don't have the CIBIL, they can also get the loan easily, and they can get the access to the funding and the tractor or the implements. So to put together, AI, if implemented across various elements of the value chain, it will help the farmer to take decision at the right time, right place. Even the decision that should I go and buy the tractor or should I take a tractor on the rental is currently a gut feeling. But with data coming in, and if AI is embedded in the applications, probably it can also guide as a coach or a mentor that currently for this year, because of the ecosystem, it is better to go for the rental and go for the new tractor next year.
Sure. Sure.
So there are use cases around it which can be thought of.
No, absolutely, Dilraj. Like you said, AI is such a disruptive technology that it touches all strategic business units within an organization. And I'm sure, it lends value beyond customer experience or farmer experience as well.
Yes. Yes.
So when you look at AI beyond farmer experience, where do you see it? Its strongest impact or opportunities. Where will AI create maximum impact? Will it be across, manufacturing floor, supply chain forecasting, dealer operations, service networks? where will it actually drive the most significant operational efficiencies, according to you?
See, it's very difficult to say that where at one area. It will depend on the organizational setup and where are the inefficiencies sitting, where are the decisions getting late, and where is a lot of human intervention and the data quality is also not good. So there are many factors. Having said this, I think at the end of the day, AI will have impact in every element related to the manufacturing, whether it's at the back end supply chain. Yes, the nature of AI will change. For example, uh, at the back end, where you have the structured data, you have tabular data, you have information available in your ERPs. Probably the classic AI, which I call it, is very useful to predict, to bring out scenarios, what if scenarios, prediction, etc. But if you go to the front end, where you will have customer coming in, probably at that point of time, uh, your generative AI with agentic will be very, very useful. Agentic could be very useful during your finance cycle, right? Procurement to pay cycle, maybe placing the development orders. Uh, Even on the quality side, agentic with computer vision has a strong use case to reject or accept the quality and help the uh, factory head or the production head to take a decision whether this product should move forward or not. Judgment will ultimately lie with the heads of the organization, but still. So, depending on the ecosystem, the organization, and also where all the inefficiencies are lying, the focus can be placed. And but I will strongly say that it should be invested in all three places. The ratio of investment could change, right? Otherwise, you will have a digital divide within your organization also. One organization will be one part of the organization will be very intelligent because it's augmented with human intelligence along with AI, and the other function or the department will be only with human AI with basic automation. So it has to be equally divided, equally prioritized with maybe some difference in the investment plans.
Okay, okay, got it. So, how tough or easy is it for a CIO to get budgets for AI projects? Because there could be some projects where the tangible outcomes or the ROI of an implementation is not too clearly visible, to the top management. So, in such a scenario, what should a technology leader do? How should he approach the top management for the budgets?
CIO should never get the budget if he or she is working alone.
Okay.
Should never get the budget. I am strongly advocate of the fact that the role of the CIO has to be relooked. It's not the traditional role. Okay, I will get my budget and I will implement and I will deliver and show. It's not. No, AI is all about business. So CIO will have to be more like a storyteller, evangelist, and a seller to the business guys to sell the idea and ask them to invest. The business will have to go to the board and ask for the money. Yes, there can be accountability, some co-ownership, but ultimately the AI has to be driven at the business end. It has to be embedded in the business. It can't be sprinkled like a salt and pepper by the CIOs on top of the applications. No. So if CIO is thinking that I will go and buy the budget or take the budget, then it's a wrong approach. It has to go through the business. They will have to sell the idea, sit together with business, do some quick pilot from maybe a very rudimentary pilot. You don't need a fancy pilot. You need very rudimentary pilots. Do a very quick pilot, showcase a benefit, bring one or two SMEs from different companies to showcase where it has already been implemented. That legwork, hard work has to be done by CIO to bring people together, convince business, and if the business buys that idea, then it's a responsibility of the business to go to the management or to the board and ask for the money because they will improve their revenue.
Sure, sure.
So that's the way I think it has to collaborate. It has to be collaborated to get the budget.
Okay.
And it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. It's not easy because At the one hand, you will have to continue with regular IT. You cannot just bring it down, and the cost cannot be reduced on day one by 20%, 30%, and that investments can go to AI. It will be an add-on investment for the time period, but for that add-on, the business has to collaborate along with the technology team or the CD or CIO, depending on the structure of the organization.
Sure, sure, Dilraj. So India as a country, if we look at it, has its own set of challenges and its very peculiar characteristics as compared to other countries. So when we talk about driving digital transformation in agriculture, one of the biggest hurdles that I feel isn't technology itself, but user adoption. This is
Yes.
because, like I said, India has a very diverse rural consumer base with varying levels of literacy and deep linguistic diversity. How can voice interfaces and vernacular technologies make digital services more accessible to farmers? Do you think AI can play a role here? If so, how? And are you also dabbling in vernacular languages, AI for helping farmers?
So, Yashvendra, vernacular local dialects are not an option. They are number one prerequisite for any adoption of digital, whether it's AI or non AI. Any adoption of digital, even if it's a text based, it has to have a local language flavor. That's a prerequisite. So that goes without saying. And that is the reason probably you will see that in India, when AI Summit also happened, the top Indian AI companies who were standing on the podium along with our respected Prime Minister Mr. Modi and Sam Altman and Anthropic AI chief, everyone. If you look at the major investment has gone into this area. How do you bring local languages which are like human being speaking on the phone, right, in multiple forms or multiple languages, etc. And a lot of work has gone, and I think I have seen myself. uh, I've, I've done POCs along with those companies in India. They are very good. They've really improved in the last 2 years, 3 years. They have created their own models. They have enough data. Incidentally, India being a BPO hub, you had so much of data available on the voice, and that's an easy, quick data availability win. We don't have data which is so structured of people like Meta or Google has it, but we have a data of voice, which I think companies are working, and they're working on the right path. I will say they're going on the right path, and this is going to be the key, barrier breaker, I will say, which will reduce the barriers between the adoption and non-adoption in the rural area.
Okay.
And the enough proof, evidences are there on the ground where if you have a right voice, you are able to connect with rural very fast. Unlike if you have a very machined voice, which is the dialects are also not matching, the languages of different flavor, suddenly the rural people also shut off the phone. They don't want to talk. So there are enough evidences. A lot of insurance and bank companies have adopted, and they have seen, they have found the success also. So I think this is very important, but a prerequisite.
Okay, great, great. So we all know that AI is reshaping business models today,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
implementing it and deriving value from it is easier said than done. Specifically or especially for a legacy enterprise, because for them, I think the prerequisite to derive value from AI lies in having great data sets. But in a legacy organization, data would be scattered, probably in silos. How does a legacy organization leverage AI? What will be the starting point? How does it manage data, which is the prerequisite for any AI to work on?
See, I'll break the myth here, and I had always been hearing, and I had earlier also, I had the same view like yours. But now, since last 6 8 months, the more deeper I go into AI to understand and to implement, I realized that it's more like a myth that data is the most important thing. Yes, data is the important fuel, and legacy companies will have a data problem. And yes, they have data problems. Data inadequacies are there. Data quality. When I say quality, there could be that three different problems: whether the data is unverified, or the data is incomplete, or the data parameters which are traditionally being collected are not relevant data points. Right. Having said this, I think it cannot be the showstopper. I am of the firm belief that if you want to go for a transformational journey, you cannot stop because of these constraints. Otherwise, it's a catch-22 situation and a chicken egg. Till you have the data, you will not be able to travel to AI journey. Till you think about AI going to AI journey, you will not be able to collect the data. Then what do? My theory has been little different. My theory is that in case if you strongly believe that a use case is relevant, and if we have investments in that use case, dig out the data, whatever it is, even if it is unverified, even if it is incomplete, and if some parameters are not available, dig out that data. Now, there are enough ways available to create synthetic data, which can be very closer to your own data. Start working with that synthetic data to start building that model what you're looking for. In the meantime, create a process of collecting the data, create a process of collecting the clean data, create a process of cleaning the data, create the process of verifying the data, the completeness of the data, etc. Create those pipelines. There is enough technologies available now. There are enough people available now who can help and handle in all these activities. So I will say, Yashvinder, to all the legacy companies, if they believe that data is a reason, then they should not think that way. If they have the intent and if the use case is a priority, there are many ways to take care of it. Yes, initially the data is not clean, so the data output will not be good. There could be a chances of hallucination. There will be a lot of noise in the AI output, but that's all known factor. But once you start in this journey, you will automatically get into the path where you will start collecting the right data, and your output will start improving, because AI will also not show the benefit on day one itself. It will also take a couple of years. And by the time you will have the right data also coming in, but your model will be there. So my suggestion will be transformation cannot wait for perfection.
Right.
And perfection is only possible via transformation. So now you decide on how do you want to go ahead.
Right. Nicely put, Dilraj. But Dilraj, you talked about the need for doing POCs before actually ramping up AI implementations. But a lot of CIOs and organizations have seen that AI works well when it comes to proof of concept. But when they start to scale it across the enterprise, the desired results are not seen. So, what is the challenge there? And what separates an AI initiative that delivers isolated productivity gains from one that creates lasting enterprise wide value?
So two corrections here, Yashwindra. One, I never said that. I don't think I have said that POC. I said pilot. If I've
Okay.
said POC, I'll take my word back. I am of the strong believer that in AI there is no POC. It's a waste of time. It's not going to deliver anything. When I say pilot, I'm talking about creating at least a minimum viable product MPV with synthetic data, and creating the same amount of noise in the data so that when you generalize it, you don't see much of a difference. Right.
Okay.
Now, POCs, why do they fail? Let's get into that first.
Yeah.
Then only you will be able to understand why am I saying that POC is not required. Traditionally, POC had been done for IT purpose to prove the technology, and mostly the POCs were driven by IT folks, middle level managers in IT team, some vendor coming in, showing the technology. They're saying, okay, go back, let's do some proof of concept of that technology. Right. AI is of not that nature, where you need to prove the concept of technology.
Okay.
Secondly, in AI, if you want to do the POC, why do they fail? Even if some people do, the reason being you do a POC on a very small set of data. That data is already very clean.
Okay.
That data is not a generalized data that has no noise. That is the perfect data which has been given for testing, training, and cross validation purpose across the creation of the model. So any such data on the POC, so-called POC stage, it will always show 95% accuracy or maybe 98%. The moment you generalize it, because now the data quantum has increased, the noise has got into it, the quality of the data which is in the system is very different than what was for testing and training purpose. Probably it will show only 60%. Number one. Number two, the reason for the failure of POC is that most of the organizations, when they pick up POC, they do not have a roadmap. Then what? If POC fails, then what? If POC succeeds, then what?
Okay.
Do they have a roadmap to clean the data which is there? Do they even have the investments, or do they even have the mandate of that use case? And invariably, you will find, Yashvendra, in such POCs, I have seen 90% of the time, the IT folks don't even have the mandate from the business on that use case. So there is no acceptability. Number three, which is very important, is how do you really define that POC is successful or failed? Just by one factor, that how far it has gone on that level of accuracy, or the other factors also? How do you really get the business benefit out of it? Who has measured? So all these constraints are there in POC. I think MPV concept solves that problem. You create a minimum viable product, you bring it as a pilot in one or two small locations, you run that in the market, there is no POC per se, and then you scale it slowly, the same MP with some improvements, with a clear cut roadmap. So, the reason for the failure is already hidden in POC by its own nature.
Okay.
So, and it's a change in the mindset, or shift in mindset, to bring thought process that I'm eliminating the POC stage, I'm directly going to the MPV stage, because the MPV will need lot of preparation, lot of commitment, unlike POC.
Right.
So that's the only recipe for the success of AI. I can say here in your forum, for the companies who want to embark on this journey.
Okay. Okay. Great. Let's talk a bit about governance with respect to AI, Dilraj, because we've talked a lot about
Yes,
benefits, value, play in AI. How important is it, and how should a CIO go about it?
very important, very important. I think governance from multiple dimensions. One is the governance of the data, the governance of the model, the governance of the use case by itself. How do you run it? It's very, very important. And there are various models or the structures of the governance depending on the ecosystem of the companies are there. But having said this, it's very important. Even if you embark on MPV stage, you should be clear what are the guardrails, right? What will you not allow? The question is not that what will you allow the AI to do, like agentic AI to touch upon. The question is, what will you not allow? If that clarity comes from the day one, I think it solves many problems in terms of the governance. Who owns it? Uh, so all those traditional stuff, but very important to document it. Very important to think over it from the dimension that AI is an invisible human being. You can say, to extend my analogy, right? It can go to any extent, but yes, you can say it's a human being which is faceless, which is invisible. So what are the risk attached to those human beings which are faceless, which are invisible, and they have the data to work on your behalf to help you to complete your task or to take decision. To what extent you will be able to extend that faith, that belief, and the authority. So, having said this, one thing I would like to mention, that please do not pass the role of judgment to any AI as of now. That is a perfect no go. Rest all is dependent on the ecosystem.
Sure, sure. Got it. But as we all know, AI is going to have sweeping impact across the enterprise. In such a scenario, Dilraj, how should technology leaders redesign roles, skills, and ways of working so that employees see AI as an enabler rather than a threat? Because
Very
a lot
good,
of
very good question, and there is no perfect answer. I
Mhm.
had been thinking around it, and I have two key functions which can play a big role. One is an HR, the other is finance. With
Okay,
with HR and agentic AI coming in, HR will have a huge role to take up this responsibility of redefining the roles of how do human, which are physical in nature, and how do digital workforce which are agentic in nature work hand in hand together. Where will the responsibilities end? Who will be owner for? Because one thing is very clear: agentic AI or AI will not be accountable for anything. Accountability for any output, whether you whether it's in the favor of the company or it's not in the favor of the company, will lie on human beings only. Right. Now, why do I say finance? Very interesting. Everything has a financial implication. I
definitely.
think the role of the finance will drastically change as we say the finance head, and they will have more and more say as AI comes in. As AI evolves across the globe, the role of the finance will be more, into the AI technology governance than what it is at all today.
Okay, and why do you say that?
Many reasons, many reasons. One, globally, if you look into it, uh, the with the agentic coming in, the role of the CFO is no, it's going to change from traditional CFO role to COFO, Chief Operating and Financial Officer. Yes, some may argue that there could be a conflict of interest between the CEO role and the CFO role because of checker maker. But then with agentic coming in, the barriers will reduce. There will be some blurring of lines. Now, how do you, when you talk about the CEO role, the governance of the people to certain extent lies with the COO also, not CEO. I'm
Right.
talking about Chief Operating Officer, right?
Right.
So I'm documenting some papers on it to publish it. But yes, I strongly believe that HR and finance put together will start looking into it, and slowly, if I'm not wrong, down the line, a decade or so, CFO will be the owner for all the AI agentics.
Oh, okay. That's a very bold statement and probably alarm bells for technology leaders. But
Yeah, I say technology leaders. I am of the view that now every technology leader will have to relook the role, and because intelligence cannot be captive, it has to be decentralized and spread. When you talk about agentics, AI, it has to be spread. Now the business will have to take up the role. No wonder that every business guy will have a AI head
sure.
to figure out what is the relevant use cases of AI, what is the technology to be done, and maybe the CIOs or the CDOs or the CTOs will take care of the overall overarching technology configurations and the guidelines and the guardrails. But the role has to be decentralized slowly, slowly, and it will go away. The traditional IT stuff will go away from the CIO's role slowly. It
Okay.
will take time. I'm not saying tomorrow, but yes, down the line, a decade or so, it will change.
Okay. Okay. The other aspect or the other challenge that CIOs are confronting when it comes to AI is that of the skill set. I mean, there's a lot of gap when it comes to AI skills in the market. So when the CIO is under a lot of pressure from the top management to quickly roll out AI projects, it's really tough for him to find the right resources, the right manpower to actually help in implementing such projects. What is the way forward for a CIO in such a situation?
First, to get themselves upgraded on what is AI.
Okay.
Not about just reading some basic books on AI. No. See, let me warn here. AI is very, very technical. Very technical. And if the heads of the function, whether it's CIO, CDO, or CTO, if they are not hard coded, wired with AI deep understanding, maybe creating few of the LLMs with their own hands, they will have to dirty their hands. They will never be able to go back to the leadership and say and challenge that don't hush, don't hurry. You will create a mess if you will try to hurry everything. And if that is done, probably that, see, there are two roles to be played here. One, to reward that pushback. There is nothing like hurry in AI. AI is not something which is only for 2 days, then it will be out of stock. AI is in a very initial stage. You will see multiple forms of AI coming in down the line, and probably what we are today talking about AI down the line 5 years. If I look back, what is happening in Silicon Valley, we in India will laugh that we used to talk even this as an AI. Is it an AI which we used to talk about? It's changing so fast. So my first request is, don't be in a hurry. AI is not running out. It's not going out of stock. It's not going out of fashion. It's not going to take your organization suddenly from top company to the lowest company because you could not implement two use cases. No. Rather, it can happen reverse. If you implement and it doesn't work out, it will take your top line and bottom line down. That's number one. Number two, it has to be planned and structured properly. How do you really disseminate that AI information and AI, both one technical in nature, the other is just as a knowledge. The third is, how do you dig out the use cases? The fourth is, how do you use that information? The fifth is on the data side. Right. Now you'll have to figure out who are relevant for what. Maybe some are relevant for all five, some are relevant only for two things, some are relevant for only three things. That structured approach has to be taken up. And then the training. There's no shortcut. Hey, it's a long driven process. It's again, I'm from the farming side. Once you sow the seed, there is no shortcut that you will get a crop in 2 days. It takes 4 months. There's a process which is going under the earth also now, which is not visible to you, which is far more complicated than what is visible to you as leaves and fruits or leaves and branches. That process will somebody will have to do. If you are sowing the seed of AI, you will have to complete that underground, under the soil process before the tree comes out. And no hurry, please. Don't be under that. I will request every CIO, CDOs, and of the world. Yes, it is important to have the priority. It is important to have the roadmap. It is important to be literate, but no hurry that I need to do it tomorrow. No. Take small pieces, create MPVs. No, start creating MPVs. That MPV itself will become one of the reason for the people to learn.
Sure. Got it. Got it. So we've had a great conversation, Dilraj. So one final question from my end before we wrap up this session. Looking ahead, what will define an intelligent enterprise in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors over the next 5 years?
Well, if we are able to break all the linearity and we are able to bring customer in the focus, in the lead, and able to you know create the mechanism where the customer feedback is actually goes into the system, whether it's in the machines or anywhere else, sensing their feedback without any linearity, it's interconnected. I think that's a peak of it. I will explain to you. Today in any manufacturing sector, uh, if you if customer has any problem in the product, what is the first point of contact? A call center or a dealer or a salesperson, right? Then the second is the the product is seen by the dealer. The dealer will complain it to the sales head or the service head. Service head will go to production. Production will go to quality department. Quality department will go to R&D or to the procurement department or to internal. So look at the linearity. Can I break it completely where I have the center? The moment the customer has a problem, it automatically goes directly to that gentleman who is responsible, and the answer is there. And the customer gets a feedback immediately that what action has been taken and how can I see the benefit of my feedback down the line. If you are able to create that mesh of network, the mesh of information using various technologies, AI is one component because it will have multiple parameters to be computed at a very fast pace. Having said this, many other technologies will align together. I think it's a peak of it.
Great. Dilraj, thank you for sharing such a thoughtful and practical perspective on building an intelligent AI-enabled enterprise. Your insights underline that meaningful AI transformation is not just about deploying models. It is about connecting technology, data, operating processes, and human needs to create measurable value. Thank you to everyone who joined us for the inaugural episode of CIO Perspective. Follow CIO Now for more conversations with the leaders defining the future of enterprise technology. Thank you and have a great evening. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much, Yashvendra. Thank you very much. It was really exciting, and I'm very happy to have conversation with you. Thank you, and it was learning also. Thank you.
Likewise, Dilraj. Thanks a ton for your time. Thank you. Have a pleasant evening. Bye.
Thank you.